So welcome, my brilliant, beloved colleague Gurbeen. It's so good to see you as always. And as always, we begin all
So
things
good to
by
see
giving thanks to our
you.
creator, to our ancestors, to the original stewards of the various lands we're on. We also acknowledge all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We acknowledge all the elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we share, build, and learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. So, Gurbeen, please introduce yourself to our viewers and listeners and share a bit about your remarkable work.
Thank you so much, Victor, for that beautiful, beautiful opening. Wow, so much to share, in this space, and so much gratitude for partners like you and Setsi. I started a social enterprise about 23 years ago when I was graduating from my second master's. I just realized the systems are broken. You know, Victor, the systems are so broken. My pathway started in international relations and international development. And then I learned more and more about tide aid and how that to me was modern day slavery. And it was just something that just kept people beholden to the powers that be. And I couldn't stomach it. And then I studied social work and social policy, and I realized, you know, after managing a $300 million budget for the state as a grantor, that the system was not, you know, supporting community. And in my humble opinion, I think community should be the one that's driving change. Community needs to be the one whose voice is heard over and over and over again, you know? And that's when, you know, I decided to leave policy. I was a political consultant back in the day, you know, and I left that very, you know, lucrative world to actually give up my paycheck altogether and live 12 years below the poverty line, to set out, and this is by choice. So I need to say, I made these decisions very, very well aware that I was trying to create something that didn't have a word. There was no word as social enterprise. You know, the first 5 years, I was like, oh goodness, okay, so we have to make money. We have to invest it back in the community. We got to serve the community. How are we going to figure this out? So it took me years to write the blueprint, to write the pathway, and to try many different things, you know. So yeah, and we did. We tried, we figured it out, and you know, marched on to set up a social enterprise. And under the Aangen umbrella now we have over 5 social enterprises, and I'm proud to say that we're now, you know, here with you and leaders that are saying, guys, we know there's a paradigm shift that's needed. How can we collaborate? How can we come together to best support the community while supporting the change in economics? Enough of the rich getting richer, enough of the poor getting poorer. We need to equalize the system.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. So what inspires you most about your work at Aangen right now?
Oh, well, what inspires me the most is something very simple. It's something very simple. Food. Food is what inspires me the most. You know, we have, on one hand, everybody's heard of the millions and millions and millions of pounds of food that is being thrown out, right? While there's people on the other side, of any equation, that are hungry. So whether it's in North America, whether it's in the global South, anywhere in the world, people are hungry. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do about it? We're a small but mighty team, but really, how about we work with folks who have food rescue, but also obviously other ingredients, and then we create sustainable employment in the middle, where people can thrive and feel supported, you know, with wraparound services, and you know, which other employers don't provide, you know, and people can thrive in that situation. And then we can create products, you know, products like this, like All Dried Up, where we can give them to anybody, or sell them. Really, we're a social enterprise, sell them, you know, to anybody who needs food. This is half of your nutrition for one day. You get one of these meals, and then you can have your tea and toast, and you can have whatever you want. But That's what inspires me, is creating that circular economy, closing the loop on giving back to the earth and soil rejuvenation with the compost that we create. And that's what inspires me, because there's only wins in this solution. There's only wins in circular economy, where we're supporting people, planet, profit, and purpose. Those are the four main keys to creating this paradigm shift, and that's what inspires me today.
Ashe, I couldn't agree more. So let me ask you another question. What are some of the barriers and challenges that you and your colleagues face, and what are some of the approaches and strategies you're taking to overcome them?
Yeah. Victor, as you know, you've been in this world, you know everybody in this world, and the challenges are, it's like pushing that boulder up a hill, right? And time after time you think, oh, okay, I've passed that hump, and then there's another one, and then I've passed that hump and there's another one. Well, there's a lot of challenges in the post-COVID world. Business is not back to normal. There's nothing normal about the world right now. There's a lot of inflation. There's a lot of people really struggling. So while the need, and you've heard this from the food bank stories, right? Like the need of the community is increasing, and the revenues of folks like us who supply food banks and getting, we need to move on. And I'm not talking about just grant support. We're a social enterprise. We for the first time in COVID applied for a grant, like we've never done that before. But the reality is we need to feed more people, we need to house more people, we need to support more. There's just so much more, and COVID actually exposed all of those gaps. And yet there's no one taking the charge to say we need to fill the gaps. There's brave souls like us who are venturing to do that, and we need that support. So listen, if there's folks from corporations, think about how you're voting with your dollar. Buy social enterprise. If there's governments, think about the same. Buy social enterprise. Change the way your RFPs are structured. Like really remove the barriers, so that folks like us who are really trying to make the changes that are needed, and give us a pathway to do it, because people need this. And if we don't get those pathways, and if we don't get the collaboration that we need, guess what? People will be less served.
Absolutely. So does Aangen, and you mentioned you have 5 different social enterprises. Do you have a set of key priorities right now in this season to advance this work?
Yes, our key priorities actually, in fact, helped us to close 2 of those social enterprises and focus on 3. Okay, so our key priorities is, absolutely food security, just no question about it. That is the driving force. We're the food people. We're passionate about food and food rescue and compost. We're also passionate about really good employment. So the way in my humble opinion, the way to break the cycle of poverty is to create really good jobs, right? And to create really good jobs, it's not just about the paycheck, Victor. To me, a really good job is having a supportive employer. And that supportive employer needs to provide wraparound services. And that is the social work training that I have, is meet people where they are, let them guide the process of what they need. Now, I have some folks in our teams that require a little bit of extra support, and that's okay. We are, but guess what? It helps them to thrive. So even when we work with other organizations where we create employment, our absolute value is to put in the services first. We got to create services. So our social worker, and our HR manager support people exactly where they are. And guess what? That increases retention, that increases, satisfaction within the employment world, that increases people's spirit, knowing that even if they're working 5 hours a week, they're getting out and they're communicating and they're part of a community. We are deeply, deeply alone. I think I mentioned this to you earlier today when we were talking. There's so much isolation in this world, and the people who are on ODSP or OW and have to figure out and navigate systems, some of them are really great at it and they have so many skills that are transferable to employment. So guess what? Let's work together and support each other. Even if your goal is ever to only work 5 hours, that 5 hours is feeding you in a way that not having it will not. So let's create sustainability through really good employment and through really good products and services.
Ashe, ashe, ashe. So what is your ultimate goal within your work, and what does success look like and feel like to you and your colleagues?
Success is that I'm sitting with Victor having this great conversation. you know, that's a really good question, Victor. Um, I have to celebrate success every day, even if it's for a moment in that day. The work we have done, this work for years. I'm counting what 25 years in the mix of this. The reality is it's not oh, the been built. Rome has been built, and but you know what I mean. It's been built now. I can celebrate. No, it's the everyday successes. Listen, there was days when I would sit and get somebody out of jail. There was days when I drove women, to shelters. There was days when I got a 1-bedroom apartment, for domestic violence. There was the day that we created a job. Those are the successes. Those are the successes that at least I need to celebrate every day to keep my sanity around this work, right? And the greatest success to me, operation, it is partnership and knowing that we have allies in the world that really are focused on making the world better together.
Ashe, ashe. So my last question for you, really straightforward. Do you have a call to action for our listeners and viewers? And do you have any closing thoughts?
Yes. My call to action is please, please vote with your dollar. Please know that every minute of every day you have a choice. Every minute of every day you can lean into somebody that's supportive. I mean, look at Patagonia, right? For instance, who said enough. We want to give back and support the earth, and this is how we're going to do it. Pick with consciousness. Pick your products, pick your services, choose change, choose a different pathway. Every minute of every day, you have that choice. You have that choice to perpetuate, corporations like Nestle that are killing our voice to support local. Think about your farmers. Think about the people locally. Think about what you can do to increase, the value of the work that people are doing in your own neighborhood. That's where the action comes into play. What is grown locally? How can you reduce your carbon footprint? How can you just pay attention? That to me would be the call of action, like to think about your daily sustainability, the planet's daily sustainability, and connecting the dots, right? And that's where I want to encourage people. You have power. You actually have a lot more power than you think. You are individually making up the collective. You're not just a drop in the ocean. You are that ocean. So act like the ocean, people.
Ashe, ashe. Thank you so much for your love, your leadership, your solidarity, your candor, your transparency. And as always, we close the way we began the session by acknowledging and giving thanks to our creator, to our ancestors, to the original stewards of the various lands we're on. We acknowledge all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We acknowledge all the elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we share, build, and learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. Thank you so much, Gurbeen, for all that you do for so many.
Thank you. Thank you.